Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Śaṅkaram Loka Śaṅkaram Śaṅkaram Śaṅkaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaye Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Nama Pranavarthaye Shuddha Jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaye Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashiva Samarambham Vyasa Śaṅkara Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. The Guru Parampara, we do Namaskaram to. Why a Guru is required? There are many reasons. Even in Laukika Vishaya, if we try to study something by ourselves, little advanced subject, many times we find it frustrating. One reads, thinks about it. Either one doesn't understand it clearly or one misunderstands it. After all, words are only the means of expression we have, communication we have. And although we are all highly proficient in language, look at the kind of problems we can face in day-to-day life in the use of language. We try to communicate something. There is a vivaksha, a vaktum ichha, something you want to express. Take a situation where there are some friends have come to visit you for dinner. And in the house is the old grandmother. And after chatting for a while, you as the host get up and say, let's eat grandma. What? You won't eat grandma? What you meant was, let us eat grandma, because she was also there. What a difference it can make, simply a pause. This is in our day-to-day life. Or take the way we express something and the emphasis we put on different words. Take a sentence like, there has been a theft and there is a housemaid who is a suspect. And there's an inquiry. And the lady says, as part of the inquiry, she's trying to communicate, I never said she stole my necklace. Now see what happens to the sentence if you place emphasis on different words. I never said she stole my necklace. Is one way of interpreting it. I never said she stole my necklace. Somebody else might have said that. I never said it. I never said she stole my necklace. Now the interpretation changes if we shift the emphasis to never. I never said she stole my necklace. Look at what has happened to the sentence and the way it's communicating. I never said she stole my necklace. Move it again. I never said she stole my necklace. I only implied it. I only meant it. I never said she stole my necklace. Another meaning. I never said she stole my necklace. Now it's got a different, totally new meaning. I never said she stole my necklace. Maybe the necklace has been found and found that she was not the one who stole it, and she is likely to be charged for accusing somebody without basis. So she says, I never said she stole my necklace. I only said my necklace got lost. Somebody stole my necklace. And if you move it further, I never said she stole my necklace. See what has happened to the meaning? This is in simple day-to-day language that we are all very proficient in. Both the speaker and the listener. And all of us were enjoying all this interaction between those two. I never said she stole my necklace. It never was mine in the first place. I never said she stole my necklace. I never said she stole my necklace. What happened to the meaning? One simple sentence, more than half a dozen different meanings can come out simply by moving the emphasis from one word to the other. One comma, one pause. This boy had a fight with his girlfriend. And he says, I'm sorry. I love you. And he forgot to put the pause in between. So what's he telling her now? I'm sorry, I loved you. I love you, sorry. I'm sorry, I love you. Look at what happens to the entire communication. In the first example, we become cannibals. Let's eat grandma. And in this example, he may be thinking, my God, I made a mistake in loving her, but he can't tell her that. Can't say, I'm sorry, I love you. So even in these kind of situations, we have a problem. Now you look at the Shastra and see what it says. My God, how many different interpretations can you make? Which is why when Śaṅkaracārya started writing the Bhāshyam for the Bhagavad Gita, he begins in the introductory Bhāshyam by saying, I'm writing this because so many people have written so many different types of interpretation, because language and Bhagavad Gita are relatively easy. It's less cryptic than Upanishads, than the Veda. Even there are so many interpretations. Therefore, you have Bhagavad Gita written by Prabhupada. Bhagavad Gita as it is. According to the followers of that, Bhagavan Sri Krishna lives in Mathura, not Mathura, Dwaraka. And if you go there, you can still meet Bhagavan. And there is no other Bhagavan. Sri Krishna is the only Bhagavan. That is their interpretation. There are others who interpret it differently. Some people who say there are 4 paths to gaining mokṣā. Like that, there are many, many different interpretations you will find. So even in the simple use of words, what it communicates and what the intention of communicating may be very different. This is one aspect. Second aspect is, anything you learn, even in normal Laukika stuff, somebody wants to learn Bharatanatyam or karate, can you learn on your own? You know, all the books are available. Or swimming. Everything is available in words. One will never be able to learn to any level of perfection by saying that, no, I will do it myself. I will learn. You need a guru. So even for something as mundane as these in our daily lives, we need a guru to go beyond a point. A guru to reassure you that, yes, you can learn. Even that is important. A guru to assess where you are and help you from there. Or even declare, I'm sorry, but I don't think you're going to forget it. An aspiring karate student, at one point the guru might say, enough. Because guru makes an assessment. How much you think this person will learn. But he's enthusiastic, so as a hobby he learns. Okay. Similarly here, a guru assesses the preparedness of the mind. How much is the adhikaritva? What is the commitment? When Pujya Swami G ran these full courses, 3.5 years, 4 years, always prior to that, he would done a short, maybe 3 months or 6 months on Bhagavad Gita. And inevitably you will find there are a lot of people who come to those courses. Because short term, they can manage to get away from whatever work they're doing, etc. So some 200 odd people come for that course. But not all 200 go on to do a 4-year course. To study for 4 years requires tremendous commitment. Certainty that that is what is required. At the end of that, you cannot put on your CV, I have learned Vedanta for 4 years under a guru, and then apply for a sales job. Nobody is going to take not give any weightage to that. In fact, people in the family might even say, he's got his head screwed on wrong, wasting his time. So talented a person. That is all their level of understanding. So Swamiji would do a quick check over the period of 3 months to see who has how much of preparation. Who is ready? Who will never be able to get it? At least not in the current situation, current time. And out of this, only a limited number of people are taken for the full-time course. So the guru makes an assessment. This is traditionally the correct way of doing it. We go to Gurukulam and the guru says, doesn't start the teaching immediately. It is not like saying, I go to the university session starts on the 16th of August, so I can go there on the 15th and join classes on the 16th. No Gurukulam starts the class on the day the Shishya arrives. Like in the case of these full-time courses, Swamiji would make people attend a certain number of classes to make an assessment. In the traditional Gurukulam, when a Shishya goes to the teacher, there's no teaching. He is asked to do seva. All kinds of little bit of work in and around the Gurukulam, in the Guru's kutia, outside the kutia. There may be a couple of cows there, look after the cows, whatever. Some seva. No teaching takes place. A Guru does make an assessment. Is Shama there? Is Dhamma there? Is Uparati there? Is Titiksha there? Is Mukshuttam there in the real sense? Does the person have Shraddha? Or is potentially one who can gain all these? In Prashnopanishad, when Shishya asks to be taught, in one place he says, Ekam samvatsaram samvatsyata anantaram prashnam puchyata yadi vijaniyamaha sarvam tava vakshyami. For 1 year, you be around. After that, you ask. And then also he doesn't give an assurance, okay, I will teach you after that. He says, if I know, I will teach you. And we are talking here about Sadvidwaan. Sadvidwaan upasrupyatam. Approach a Sadvidwaan. Sadvidwaan is Sadguru. A guru who teaches you Sadvastu. Only he is a Sadguru, he or she. Sadvidvaan upasrupyatam. You go to the Sadvidvaan, you assess that he is the Sadvidvaan. What kind of Sadvidvaan should you find? How do you know he is a Sadvidvaan? We've already established that I cannot do it on my own. I need a guru. What kind of guru should I go to? Who is a guru? There is a certain rapport that has to be there between the guru and the shishya. It's not a distant relationship. In fact, for a sannyasi, when one takes sannyasa, all of the relationships are dropped. Son, daughter, mother, father, siblings, everything is dropped. The only relationship that grows is the Guru-Shishya relationship. There has to be a rapport. There has to be a transfer from the Guru's buddhi into the Shishya's buddhi. Today, if I'm teaching, these are not my words. I may use different examples. I may use more contemporary situations to explain a point, but exactly the same thing that was taught to Śaṅkaracharya by his guru, that was taught to Totakacharya by Śaṅkaracharya, that was taught to my guru by his guru, and that was taught to me. So that rapport has to be built, which is another reason why classes don't start immediately. You allow time and space for this Guru-Shishya relationship to develop. Therefore, he says, if the preparation is incomplete, if the Guru judges that, let us say, Titiksha is inadequate, he might take special care for that student to help the student gain Titiksha. If Mokshuttam is not there, then very unlikely that anything will happen. But each of the other adhikaritvam factors, Guru will make an assessment and If that is not there, if mokṣā is not there, and therefore there's no vairagya because there's no viveka, maybe both will be wasting time. That is not also not what we want. Once a Shishya and a Guru have established that rapport, and then the Guru says something which is contradictory to what you think you know, how should one react? All the texts tell you pariprashnena, panipratena, pariprashnena, in different words. Samitpanihi. How do I respond when it contradicts what I think I know? So one waits and watches. One doesn't immediately stand up and contradict. One asks questions. The Shishya will ask questions. Guru may give a detailed explanation. Even then, the Shishya doesn't understand. He may think about and contemplate upon what the Guru has said. Still not clear. He may go back and ask again. Sometimes you have this session when you have question answer. Somebody then sends a question and the Guru answers, and there's a follow-up question. And maybe a second follow-up question. One doesn't reject what the Guru says because one has established that relationship between Guru and Shishya. Even then, if one doesn't understand, the Shishya says, okay, let me think about what Guru said. So he goes back and allows it to operate in his own system. And now with this new possibility, he re-examines everything. He had drawn some conclusions about life based on what inputs he got, including from Google. Now he re-examines them. And it was still not very clear, goes back to the Guru. This knowledge is not in a belief. This knowledge one has to understand, as we will see in the next verse, has to be understood, has to be analyzed by a system called mimamsa. Questioning, thinking. That process has to go on. Because one has, in a sense, surrendered to the Guru. Normally in our lives, it's a very dicey thing to do. Most of us do not want to surrender to another human being. We see the teacher also as a human being and say, in these things, he is useless. My teacher makes so many mistakes in English. Therefore, I look down upon him. If we think of it only in that sense. My teacher vilifies other religions. Why did he do that? Don't all religions lead to the same goal? Why is he doing that? This is contradictory to what he has arrived at as a conclusion. What do? You think about what he said. You don't immediately reject what he said. Why go that far? In your normal college classroom, there are times when the teacher tells something, it doesn't gel with us. We don't get up in the middle of the class and say you're wrong. Do you do that? Even in our regular classrooms in class, we make a note of it. Maybe put a question mark in the notes. Check this out. We do all that. And we also try to understand what the intent of that is. Why is Guru saying this? Therefore, we, in a sense, have surrendered to the Guru. Like I said, it's a very dicey thing to do, to surrender to any other human being. Our ego does not permit it. He is inferior to me in so many ways. Why should I surrender to him? Pranipatena. Pranipatena literally means falling down at his feet, touching his feet. Why should I do that? From your perspective, the Shishya's perspective, it is important to do that. Not like what happens in many schools in the West, in Europe. I have a friend, she teaches in schools, and she says, I'm afraid in the class. People built like bulls, 10th, 11th standard. They come at me with a knife. How learning takes place? How will learning take place? Here is a knowledge where the teacher has nothing to gain. If the teacher's objective is that I should get a lot of dakshina, for example, then he may not be the right teacher. He has no use for dakshina. No, Swami G also has to live. Yes, unfortunately, fortunately, in the Jagat, that Sharira has to live, that Sharira has to have some level of basic comforts. And as a Shishya, I help make that happen. But that's not the Guru's requirement if he is a Sadvidwaan. Otherwise, we always have this WIIFM. Correct? Anything I do, I want WIIFM. What is in it for me? If he is a Sadvidwaan, if he is a Sadguru, that question does not arise. Therefore, surrendering to such a person, such a jiva which has that sharira, is not like what you see in political circles in India, because the chief minister is there and very powerful person. All these people do prostrate in front of her or him. But there is both are looking at WIIF. The Sadvidwaan that has no relevance for the Sadvidwaan. There are Swamis who want to take to sannyasa because I feel great. Everybody will come and do namaskaram to. Wrong Guru. Therefore, if he is genuinely a Guru, doing Ashtanga Namaskaram, which includes the mind. Ashtanga Namaskaram is perfectly safe. That Guru who is a Shrotriya Brahmanistha, who's, how do I know he's a Brahmanistha? I don't. But one assessment one can make, does he have any other interest? or is focused entirely on this Atmajnana, nothing else. One indication. But Shrotriya you can find out. Who did he learn from? And who did his Guru learn from? The Guru teaches not out of wanting dakshina, not out of wanting respect, not out of a need to have another car. None of these make any difference to the Sadvidwaan. The unfortunate part is we are all taught to have a scientific thinking, rational thinking. And a rational thinking cannot understand the concept of Shraddha. They only know faith and what they call rationality. Therefore, when we grow up in that kind of environment, in the pre-invader period, there was Shraddha, not faith. Then we were drummed into our heads that you have to have a scientific temper, a scientific inquiry into everything. Even today, what happens is there are people who are trying to sit and prove that Vedanta is scientific. I tell them Vedanta cannot be scientific. If it is scientific, it's useless. Because anything scientific will change. Vedanta is not scientific. Science depends upon observation by the five senses and processing of the observation to arrive at a hypothesis. Then you do experiments to validate that hypothesis, and then you call it a theory. You get a Nobel Prize. 10 years later, another fellow comes and shows where the problem is with your theory. Vedanta is not like Vedanta not dependent upon the observation of the five senses. It is not available to the senses. The knowledge of the subject is not available to the senses. It is only Shabda Pramana. And Shabda, as we've seen, has its own pitfalls. Therefore, Shabda Pramana handled by a Guru. He is the Pramana. This scientific doesn't work anymore. I'm not decrying science. Very important. Science and technology is what continue to develop. I was going to say improve our lives, but I pulled back. Because every scientific technological development looks like it's improving. At the same time, when you look deeper into it, it's actually creating more problems. Technology brought in electric saw, buzz saw, so that the faster we can fell trees and not replant them. Science has its own, and the consequent technology has its own elements which will be negative to one's life later. Vedanta is not scientific. This only a Guru can bring out. And for such people who are so committed to rationality, who cannot understand the concept of Shraddha. Remember what Bhagavan said in the 3rd chapter in Gita? Na buddhi bedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam. Don't even try to teach them. So these are assessments that the Guru will make. And the Guru teaches not for any personal gain. A guru, if he's really a Sadvidwaan, he has no needs, including the need to teach. But nor does it require the obeisance of a Shishya. It does not elevate him any further because thousands of Shishyas come and do namaskaram to him. Guru Dakshina is important. I'm not denying Guru Dakshina. But if that becomes the prime reason for a guru's teaching, then I'm wary. Every guru, after a series of lectures, public lectures, etc., the Shishya are given envelopes, Dakshina, they put the envelope and then there are boxes, they put it there and go. Even that does not appeal to me. It is necessary because in the old days, when Gurukulams were run, the society would look after the Gurukulam. In fact, there was a system where Gurukulams existed in, lots of Gurukulams were there. Almost every cluster of villages, there'll be a Gurukulam. And the people of the various villages would send their children and they would look after the Guru and the Gurukulam. And then there'll usually be a patron, one of the rich landlords or the king or the local ruler of some kind. These Shishyas, after they finish their learning, Snata they become. After they finish their learning, they call Snata. They take a formal ritual bath. They go and present themselves to that patron, the king. And the king's pandits would ask questions and they would exhibit their learning. And if the king is pleased, king I'm using commonly for whatever the local patron is, he would then take care of the Gurukulam. Today's date, that doesn't happen. So anybody who's teaching has to find a way of survival. But I would prefer that this is done completely voluntarily by the Shishyas. So everybody starts a trust and says, you give the trust, you will get ATG clearance, ATG offset. Even that, a bit dicey. One goes to a guru because one wants to learn. Shishyasteham shādimāṃ tvaṃ prapannam. I want to learn. I believe you're the person who can teach me. This Paravidya, which is not available elsewhere, I would like to learn. And pratidinam tat paduka sevyatam. Upacharikam. When I said one does Shashtanga Namaskaram, touches one's Guru's feet. In the absence of a physical absence of the Guru, one uses the Paduka as the Upacharikam. Paduka Sevyatam. Very beautiful 4-line Sloka on the Guru. Dhyana Moolam Gurur Murti. Guru's Murti is for Dhyanam. When you want to do meditative work also, Guru's picture or Guru's Murti becomes the source for you. Because one has Shraddha. Gurur Dhyana Moolam Gurur Murti Puja Moolam Gurur Padam Paduka Sevyatam Mantra Moolam Gurur Vakyam. Therefore, one does not outright reject anything that the Guru says. I remember in the early days with my Guru, when he would say use such strong words, ridicule other religions. And I had come from a background where I said all religions lead to the same God. And I didn't realize what he was saying. I was, in fact, wonder why is he doing this. It took me time to understand, but I did not reject. I said there must be a logical reason for this. Mantra moolam gurur vakyam, all because moksha moolam gurur kripa. Because he's a Sadvidwaan. I'm looking for moksha. I'm looking for that jnanam which is moksha. Therefore, without Guru's kripa, without Guru's grace, I'm going to find it very difficult to gain this knowledge. If he is Sadvidwaan, one who has understood the Satyam, what is he understood? What has he assimilated and understood? That he is everything. All that Ishvara that I've been praying to all this time is nothing but that Sadguru. So Acharya brings it out systematically. In these 14 Karmani Lotlakara, may one do this. May one approach a Guru who is a Shrotriya Brahmanishtha. May one do seva pratidinam after having understood sannyasa, either a physical sannyasa after clear understanding that what I am looking for is that jnanam. That jnanam is not going to come from any karma. Karma and upasana have done their job. They have brought me to this point where now I am ready for gaining this knowledge. I can drop karma and upasana and focus only on jnana nishtha. That is sannyasa. And in that state, when karma and upasana are not anymore a necessity, one might continue to do certain karma in the form of prayer, but no more agni karma, no more prescribed karma. Nitya naimittika karma is unnecessary. Nitya naimittika karma, if one has to follow as per the Vedas, they take a bulk of your time. But having done that and having reached the state of chitta shuddhi and chitta ekagrata, which is the purpose of doing all that, they are no more required. An example that we see in Atma Bodha, it is like, for cleaning the water, stored water, we use traditionally one kataka nut. These days we use alum. There are suspended particles in the water. You can't straight away use it, drink it. So you put that kataka nut. That kataka nut gathers all the dust and itself also settles down. If the job is done, it's gone. Like that. Now ready for the state of sannyasa. So there Bhagavan, the Acharya says, that one karma ashu santejyatam. One may the even nitya naimittika karma be given up. Santejyatam. You go to the Guru and the Guru says, after having spent enough time with the Guru, Guru says, how do you gain this knowledge? Through Shravanam. There are certain angas to the Shravanam. Angas mean certain supporting limbs. And Shravanam is the angi. Shravanam itself has meaning both in terms of hearing and in terms of vichara. It has two meanings. So here Shravanam requires one to listen to the words of the Shastra as outlined by, as unfolded by a Guru, absorb that, having cleared the mind of all the preconceived notions, put them aside, not rejected them. And at every stage, examine what I thought I knew with what is now being taught. And if there are contradictions, try and analyze and understand how. This is Shravana. This analysis, that vichara, there is a particular method in Shastra called Mimamsa. Mimamsa is analysis. When after having read many of these Upanishads, having read the Bhagavad Gita, one then moves on to study Brahma Sutra. Brahma Sutra is the totally analytical text. Cryptic sutras. Tattu Samanvayat. In fact, there are a lot of sutras, but we study only 4 sutras. Athato Brahma Jignasa. That's sutra, but to understand that there are bhashyam on that, then there are tika on that, pages and pages and pages of analysis. We will see, not all of them, but we'll see how that is done. So he will say, having established the relationship, having made assessment of the Shishya, he will say, do Shravanam. The modern day context, we say, please attend classes without fail. Try and absorb what is being said. If you look at my notes, even today, not only in Vedanta, even my college days, I will take my own notes. They will not really be the words of the thing. Maybe there's some words also may be there, but inevitably you will find there are some sideline notes, marginal notes, where there may be a little sketch, there may be a model, there may be a question for me to re-examine later. That's Shravana. Not only just hearing, but doing a certain amount of analysis on that, vichara on that. So if you go to the Guru, and one has already understood the idea of Pratidinam Tat Paduka Sevyatam, Guru says, do Shravanam. In the last line of this verse, Brahma Ekaksharam Athyatam. What is it that the knowledge that we've gone there to gain? See, Brahma cha, Brahma is Eka Aksharam cha, Eka cha Aksharam cha. That which is non-dual, that Brahman which is non-dual and not subject to kshara, reduction, destruction. Brahma eka aksharam artyatam. Artyatam is prarthyatam. V1, may this knowledge about Brahman, which is eka cha aksharam cha, may this be prayed for, may this be requested. Please teach me that ekaksharam Brahma. If you see the various Upanishads we've been studying, in every case, this has been framed in different words. Nachiketa went to Yamadharmaraja and asked, please teach me that which is beyond death. That which is beyond dharma. Does such a thing exist? In the Mundaka Upanishad we've been studying, asking, I want to know that, knowing which I know everything. Obviously, these Shishyas have done a lot of thinking earlier. Otherwise, you can't even formulate the question like this. Arjuna was not able to formulate like this. Arjuna only knew that there is something called Shreyas, mokṣā. So he simply fell at Bhagavan's feet and said, Shishyasteham shādimāṃ tvam prapannam. Ask for this knowledge of that ekaksharam Brahma, that paravidya, that vidya yaya aksharam adhigamyate, by which you know that Brahman. Paravidya. So, Brahmaikaksharam artyatam. So here, all that we said earlier really comes into play. How do you ask? Hey, do you know what Brahman is? Can you tell me? That's not the way one person asks. Attitude. Adhihi bhagavo brahmeti. Hey, Bhagavan, please tell me what is the Brahman. Adhihi bhagavo brahma. And the beauty is that it is said in the Shastra itself, in the Gita, that a jnani-naha, people who know, who have the jnanam, tattva-darshibhihi, tattva-darshinaha, upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninaha tattva-darshinaha. If they assess that you're ready, if they assess that you really want to know, not because I want to prove my point, they will teach you. But the approach is tadviddhi pranipatena pariprashnena and sevaya. The attitude has to be right. If the person already thinks he knows, because he is ready somewhere, then Guru might say, very good, let's have a cup of tea. You already know what is there to teach. There is a story of Mullah Nasruddin. Some people came to him and asked him to teach something, not the jnanam. And he said, do you know what it is that you want. They said, we don't know, that's why we've come to you. So if you don't know what you want, I can't teach you. Go back, learn and come back. So they went away. And after a period of time, they came back to him and said, so he asked them again, now do you know what it is that you need? They said, yes. So if you know already, why should I teach you? Please go back. They went back and consulted among each other what to do. We have to learn this. He's not teaching us, he's giving all kinds of. So they came up with a very smart idea. So next time again, they came back to Mullah Nasruddin and said, please teach me. And he asked, do you know already? Very smartly, half of them said, yes, we know. And half of them said, no, we don't know. So they said, very good. The ones you know, please teach the ones you don't know. Go back. One has to ask for this knowledge. It is not a knowledge which will come by accident. There is no serendipity about this knowledge. And if one has to ask this knowledge, some amount of questions should have already come into one's mind. One would have already done some thinking about the three big things. Who really am I? What is the satyam of I? What is the satyam of this jagat, this whole cosmos? And there is something called Ishvara, God. I don't generally use the word God only for this reason, because everybody has a different concept of God. If you ask 10 people, what is God? And I've incidentally done this experiment with people. Everybody comes up with a different answer. But there is a concept of God. The terrorist in Taliban also has a concept of God. What is this God? Only thing, they never think beyond that. Anything based on faith alone can be dangerous. If you are told, I saw a small video of a school in Afghanistan now. The subject matter is different from what you and I learned. They are not learning mathematics. They are not learning geography. Forget about learning truth of the world. He is starting to tell them, who created this world? Allah. They have to all answer Allah. And who are the people who don't accept Allah? Kafir. This is taught in the school. Then he picks up a rifle. So what is this? Kalashnikov, one of the child says. Oh, small children, okay. And then he's teaching them hand grenade, the name of the hand grenade in Pashtun or whatever language they're using. This is being taught. There is a God for them also. Badly misinterpreted, that's a concept of God. I can't imagine any God would go and say, create himself. That is why people ridicule even Thanksgiving. If the God has to be propitiated by killing a turkey, there's something missing there. Please look at it from the turkey's point of view. Who is giving thanks to whom? So Shravanam in our case is very clear analysis. You hear, you process in your head, you already have a whole set of knowledge, facts that you have accumulated. At each stage, compare. This is why Shravanam has to be done again and again and again. It is not simply I hear and that my Shravanam is over. My Shravanam involves Mimamsa. And this Mimamsa initially involves my own understanding of what it is and examining what this saying is, why and how is it different from what I know. This is Shravana. Brahmaikaksharam arthyatam. Ask for this knowledge. And listen. Listen carefully to what the Guru is saying. That is Shravanam. Shrutishiro vakyam samakarnyatam. Samyak akarnyatam. May what the Guru says about Shrutishira vakyam. Shruti is Vedanta or Veda. Shruti Shira is what is at the end of the Veda, at the head of the Veda if you want, which is Vedanta. Vedanam Antaha. That, the Vakyam that is there in that, the Mahavakya, Samakarnyatam. Listen here very, very carefully. So it is not simply hearing, but hearing what Shastra says as unfolded by a Guru by constantly analyzing those words. We will look at what these words are and how one can analyze them in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Guru Harihi Om.